Hey everyone, Internet PCS book reader here. Today I want to talk about It Ends With Us by Colin Hoover. I mentioned this book on a video about 100 Years of Solitude where I said that I haven't read this one yet. I lied, kind of. While reading 100 Years of Solitude, I had the chance to become the best man on my relative wedding and I was at around 100 pages of that book, and I know it's not the kind of story that you read while you're busy traveling and helping your relative with their wedding. So I put a pause on reading that book and I took this book. Yes, obviously, I don't hold this book to be in the same standard as 100 Years of Solitude, but to be fair, 100 Years of Solitude won the Nobel Prize, and this book is notorious for both good and bad reason. There have been multiple long hours video dissecting this book which I have not watched at all, but the title doesn't really give me much hope on it. Then there's also Blake Lively marketing disaster, the wife of the guy who really wanted people to know that he's funny and quirky, and the star of Gossip Girl that seems to play her character from the Gossip Girl even outside of the series. So yeah, I had a little bit of negative bias toward the book, but there are also a big part of the internet, especially on TikTok, that are really into this book. So since I got it on a second-hand bookstore, I might as well give it a chance before I listen to other people's opinion about the book. The book starts with introducing us to the main character Lily Bloom. From this opening monologue, we know that she thinks a lot about that because she specifically told us so through the exposition monologue. We also know that she's a bit of pop girly from all the references that she gave on an eulogy that she just gave. The eulogy was for Andrew Bloom, the mayor of her hometown, Maine, the greatest real estate agency in the city, and husband of Jenny Bloom, the most wanted teacher assistant from the same city as him. And if his family name is not obvious, the exposition opening also tells us that Andrew Bloom is the father of our main character Lily Bloom, who with further exposition monologue we know that she once fell in love with a homeless man. The eulogy was a disaster if we also judge it by what she told us through exposition. Maybe that's why she's been thinking about suicide for a while now. Not her own suicide, mind you, other people's suicide. Thinking what were they thinking while they were free falling. Regret for things they've left behind, or glad that they've left whatever it is they've left behind. Yet despite the disastrous eulogy that we never saw and her somewhat dark talks, she's enjoying her time tonight just sitting on some rooftop. That is until the door of the rooftop opened abruptly and violently, and some random guy comes out of the door, obviously on the verge of having a nervous breakdown or already at the moment. The guy then started taking it out on some random chair, kicking it. He took a breath from kicking the chair, and Lily took the opportunity to appreciate his bicep because it's that kind of novel. He lights up a joint, inhale, exhale, before he finally noticed Lily. Acting like he didn't just did anything to the chair, he confidently asked Lily what's her name, because it's that kind of novel. And she noticed how low his voice is, how it reached down to her stomach, because again, it's that kind of novel. You know, romance that romanticize romance a bit too much, which if you like this, more power to you. It's just a bit too silly for me not to poke fun at. They talk and they have the most awkward conversation ever. The kind that is mostly him talking and her responding. He told her about the guy who fell from the rooftop last month because he wanted to take a photo and fell because of it. Something that feels more common nowadays. They also talk about rooftops and people who live in rooftops. His job as a neurosurgeon, and finally his name, Ryle Kincaid. Then from introducing their name to each other, then they somehow trauma dumps their own personal problem to each other. Again, a behavior that I had to say to the incel is not romantic at all, stop it. The trauma dump continues when Ryle asks Lily about a naked truth of her. Then Lily told him how his father was abusive to their mother, the kind of abuse that degenerates like Shia LaBeouf and Chris Brown likes to do. When Lily told Ryle about the guilt she felt for not trying to stop his father, Ryle instead defended the abuse, saying empty words like, "There's no such thing as bad people, only people who sometimes do bad things," which, just in case if you're not aware yet, is an absolute red flag that you need to run the hell away from. But instead of running away, Lily found the useless quote to be profound, that there are people who need to suppress their bad worse than other people, excuses that we often use to defend these bad people. Then Ryle also won his turn to trauma his problem of watching a boy accidentally kill his brother because they were playing with guns, obviously a story about himself. And then he asked another truth from Lily because he thinks his is worse. Again, a red flag of immaturity if someone is making their trauma into a competition of who got it worse. But again, Lily ignored it and told the story of the eulogy she just delivered for her father's death. Then things suddenly turned into smooth when Ryle said that he wanted to fuck Lily. He started making physical moves to Lily, and I'm sure that they'll both have a good time. But at least the author know how to teach her readers because Ryle's phone started ringing when his hand started groping around, and Ryle had to cancel his plan and left Lily alone in the rooftop. Lily spent the next day talking to her roommate, reading her old diaries, and talking with her mother, who is now single and ready to move to Boston where Lily lives. Then the story skips 6 months ahead, when Lily had opened a flora shop that has been her dream, and her mother has started working again as a teacher in Boston. While they're visiting the location of her new shop, conveniently someone named Alicia comes to the shop and offers to work there based on a sign of worker needed that is conveniently in front of Lily's shop without Lily putting it there. And when Lily conveniently hurts her ankle at the shop, the person who Alicia called for help is, of course, conveniently just happened to be her brother, right? Isn't it great that there are 4 back-to-back plot convenience, he said sarcastically. The story then moved for a while, alternating between Lily blossoming relationship, no pun intended, with Ryle and her reading her diaries on her first relationship with her gardener, a boy named Atlas who she got closer in her youth, while her father abuse to her mother only got worse as time goes. At first, Ryle and Lily tried to distance themselves with each other because Ryle is only interested in a one-night stand with her and Lily wanted more. But Ryle eventually begs her to have sex with him in one of the most painful conversations to listen to, that the conversation in 50 Shades of Grey sounded like reasonable way normal human being talks with each other. Again, nothing happens, and eventually Lily opens her flower shop where Ryle walks in as the first customer and obviously bought flower for Lily. Alicia sounds beyond oblivious here that the flower is for Lily in a way that feels so unnatural. It feels like she's an alien pretending to be human and failed miserably. And Ryle's absolute cringe doesn't stop there. When Lily brought her gay guy friend to Alicia's birthday party, Ryle got inexplicably jealous. Jealous enough to start throwing his glass and breaking them. But instead of walking away after seeing the continuous red flags that are waving at her, when Ryle started to make another move to her on the party, she accepted with a promise that they don't have sex, which obviously never going to happen. They did have sex, which fortunately or maybe unfortunately didn't turn into one night stand. Ryle then forced himself into a dinner date with Lily and her mother, and it just happened that the restaurant owner is Lily's first love, Atlas, the homeless guy we know so far from her diary, a victim of abuse from his own mother who grew close to Lily at one point. And here they meet again when they were both already in a relationship. For a while things went great for Lily. Her mother is no longer with her abusive father who goes as far as violently rape his own wife at one point in her life. She has her own flower business that went amazing, and she's in a relationship with the most good-looking and caring neurosurgeon that is also good at satisfying her sexually. And then to top it off, Alisa, her best friend and the rich woman who worked for her, got pregnant after such a long period trying to get pregnant. She had the perfect life that she never even thought possible just a few months ago. But of course, all the red flags we've been seeing and Lily has been excusing come so naturally. One day when she cooked him a casserole wearing naked apron, he picked up the hot food with just his hand and she laughed playfully at him, which he responded with a backhanded slap to her face. The combination of the shock from how sudden it was, his apology, and how his surgeon hand got injured with glass during the event makes her excuse him for hitting her. After all, it's just 15 seconds of pure violence compared to the days and weeks that he makes her happy. It was nothing. It's surely nothing. Maybe it's even her fault because she laughed at him hurting his hand with the food she cooked for him naked. Surely, Ryle is not like her father, and she is nothing like her mother. She's still of the belief that a person's character is not defined by their mistake, instead of their mistakes are also part of what defines them, so she decided to forgive him. Ryle lied to Alisa, who again believed his word for it, which to be fair, is written in a more natural way that compared to her not realizing her brother is flirting with Lily at the start of the story. But they were eating at Atlas' restaurant when Atlas saw Lily's eyes and Ryle's hand and immediately recognized the sign of abuse. He tried to convince Lily to leave Ryle when Ryle walks in on them and the boys fought for a bit. But Atlas didn't manage to convince Lily to run away from Ryle. If anything, Lily is even more convinced that the slap was a one-time thing and she eloped with Ryle during their outing at Vegas. Then right after they were married, Ryle again obviously put his hand on her, pushing her down the stair when he saw Atlas' number that she kept hidden just in case if Ryle got violent again, like this. And things only got worse after that. She even got raped by Ryle the same way her father did to her mother, and worse, it caused her to get pregnant with Ryle's child. I think this story gets too much hate. It's far from the best storytelling I've read this year. The main exposition and plot convenience can be annoying, and yes, some part of the trauma dumping sessions and the romance can be handled better. I mean, for being one of the main love interests, Atlas wasn't even that well fleshed out or have any chemistry with Lily even at the end of the story. But the way the author handled the topic of abuse, I think is as well as she could for this level of storytelling. It's nowhere near as bad as 13 Reasons Why or Euphoria. Also, from the topic that is being explored in this book, I can see how Blake Lively got into controversy from how she's handling the marketing of the story. Hopefully it at least didn't make people hate watch the movie, giving them more money. I'm really tired of rage bait marketing, and if her flippant attitude only makes the movie more money, there will definitely be more of it, unfortunately. Eventually in the story, Ryle did some jobs in England while Lily had to think deeply about her relationship with Ryle while she was pregnant. And thankfully for Lily, she had people who become her support system, making her realize that Ryle still only thinks about himself whenever he is feeling sorry that he was abusive. Those support system and her wish for history to not repeat itself makes her finally leave Ryle, so her daughter doesn't have to experience having an abusive father like she did. The book did a great job at painting abusers as abusers here. I do hear that the same abusive main leads are there in her other books, but she didn't paint them as abusers like she did in this book, but I had to read them to know for sure. Maybe you all can put some titles in the comment, I'll try to read them someday. But at least for this book, albeit awkwardly, it managed to show how even if an abusive person are capable of loving someone else, they still love themselves more. And you cannot fix them for them. It is a long life battle that they'll need to go through without feeling too sorry for themselves. I give this book a 2.75. What do you think? Let me know if I missed anything, so leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it. See ya.